Life's been kind of a wild ride, you know? Here I am, Anna, clocking in at 42, with what you might call the whole package. Got a nice house, thanks to my folks passing it down. It's one of those cozy places that's seen more memories than I can count. And then there's Mark, my other half. Met him back when I was just figuring life out, and he was tending bar at some dive, barely scraping by. My dad saw something in him, though, pulled some strings, and bam, Mark's running the top spot in town now. Funny how things turn out, huh? Our kids, Emily and Alex, they're our little trophies. Emily's got her head screwed on tight, always one step ahead, a real spitfire. Alex, he's the quiet storm, always buried in a book or some hobby that's got his brain ticking. I remember when Mark and I decided to shack up. It wasn't all roses and sunshine, but something about us just clicked. We were a team, tackling whatever crap life threw our way. When Emily came along, we were over the moon, and then Alex rounded us out. Felt like we hit the jackpot, you know? Mom, why'd you pick Dad, of all people? Emily would ask, her tone dripping with that teenage mix of curiosity and skepticism. I'd laugh, tossing a look Mark's way. Well, he made me laugh. And your granddad thought he could use a leg up. Seemed like a good bet. Mark would chime in, and I had the charm. Don't forget the charm, Anna. Yeah, charm, I'd echo, with a wink. Life with Mark was never dull. He had a way of turning the mundane into something worth remembering. Alex, ever the observer, would add, Dad's cool. He knows everyone and everything about the bar. That bar, it was more than just a job for Mark. It was his kingdom, and he ruled it with a kind of passion that was contagious. My dad helping him land that gig was the best kind of meddling. Gave us a stability we might not have had otherwise. We'd sit around the dinner table, the four of us, and it felt like we were in our little bubble. This is it, you know? I'd say, soaking in the moment. Our slice of the good life. And that was us. A bit rough around the edges, maybe, but solid. It was in those moments, amidst the banter and the everyday chaos, that I'd feel this surge of gratitude. For my family, our home, and the life we'd built out of love, laughs, and a whole lot of hard work. It wasn't perfect, but damn, it was ours. The thing about doubt is it creeps up on you like a shadow at dusk, silent and almost invisible until it's all you can see. That's how it started with Mark. His late nights at the bar weren't anything new, but they started stacking up, night after night, more than the usual. And then, one night, he didn't come home at all. Where's Dad? Alex asked one morning, his eyes scanning the empty seat at the breakfast table. Work stuff, baby. He had to stay late, I answered, stirring my coffee more than it needed, avoiding Emily's piercing gaze. Yeah, right. Emily snorted, her skepticism as clear as day. That's getting old, Mom. I couldn't shake her words, nor the nagging feeling in my gut. Mark had excuses, sure, but they were getting flimsier by the day. And then came the lipstick. A bright, bold color, clashing with everything in my makeup drawer. Holding it between my fingers felt like holding a piece of evidence, a clue in a mystery I didn't want to solve. This yours? I asked Emily, trying to keep my voice steady. She glanced at it and rolled her eyes. Please, Mom. I wouldn't be caught dead in that shade. The conversation with Mark about it was anything but reassuring. Found this in your car, I said, tossing the lipstick onto the kitchen counter between us. Mark barely glanced at it before shrugging. Probably one of the staff's. You know how it is, things get left behind. His nonchalance stung, a stark contrast to the turmoil churning inside me. Things, or people? I shot back, the words out before I could stop them. Anna, come on. You know it's not like that, he replied, his tone a mix of frustration and fatigue. I wanted to believe him, to laugh it off as paranoia, but the seed of doubt had taken root. Emily, always one to call it like she sees it, didn't let it go. You're not actually buying that, are you? It's like textbook cheating behavior. Her blunt assessment hit hard. What do you suggest then, detective? I asked, half in jest, half desperate for any kind of guidance. Hire someone to follow him. Find out for real, she said, dead serious. The idea was ludicrous, something out of a TV drama, not our life. But the thought lodged itself in my mind, growing with every unanswered call, every vague explanation of Mark's whereabouts. Deciding to hire a private investigator felt like crossing a line, the first step down a path I wasn't sure I wanted to tread. But as I tossed and turned, I realized that not knowing was worse than any truth I might uncover. The uncertainty was a constant, gnawing presence, and I needed it gone. Morning brought a decision, a resolve hardened by a restless night. I'm going to do it, I told Emily, her nod of approval, both reassuring and terrifying. Mark, oblivious to the storm brewing, kissed me goodbye that morning with a casual, "See you tonight." I watched him go, the familiar routine now tinged with suspicion and fear. What I was about to do felt like betrayal, yet wasn't that what I feared he was doing to me? The irony wasn't lost on me, but neither was the determination to find the truth, no matter how it would change us. The week after deciding to hire a PI felt like the longest of my life. Every time Mark left for work, I wondered if today would be the day I'd get the call with news I didn't want to hear. But when Peter, the private investigator and an old family friend, finally rang, his news was like a breath of fresh air I didn't know I was holding in. No signs of cheating, Anna. Just work and the usual errands, Peter reported over the phone, his voice a mix of professionalism and relief. I almost dropped the phone, a laugh bubbling up from somewhere deep inside. Are you sure, Peter? Like, really sure? Cross my heart. I followed him to the bar, a car service station, and even a grocery run. If he's seeing someone, he's got them stashed in the cereal aisle, Peter joked, trying to lighten the mood. The relief was palpable, washing over me in waves. When I shared the news with Emily, her reaction was a mix of relief and skepticism. So, we just trust him again? Emily asked, eyebrows raised, her tone laced with doubt. It looks that way, honey. Maybe we were just being paranoid, I replied, trying to convince myself as much as her. Emily shrugged, not entirely convinced, but willing to let it go for the moment. If you say so, Mom. But I'm keeping my eyes open. Life started to get back to normal after that. Mark's late nights didn't stop, but the suspicion had been lifted, replaced by a tentative trust. That is until I found the receipt. It was just lying there on the dresser, a piece of paper that felt heavier than it looked. An expensive handbag from a high-end store, the kind of purchase we'd talk about if it were for me. I waited for days for Mark to mention it, to hand me a gift-wrapped box with a sheepish smile, but it never came. Finally, curiosity and a hint of concern got the better of me. Mark, did you buy something from Luxe Couture recently? I asked casually over dinner, trying to keep my tone light. Mark nearly choked on his drink, coughing before replying. Yeah. A gift for a client. You know, bar business. I paid with corporate money. The explanation felt off, forced. I nodded, trying to shove down the doubt creeping back in. The ease that had settled over our house after Peter's call was cracking, the receipt a reminder that trust, once questioned, isn't easily rebuilt. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't let it go, not without more proof. I'm going to check our account, I whispered to myself, a plan forming. Just to be sure. But what I found only deepened the mystery. A large withdrawal, around the same time as the purchase of an expensive handbag. When I called the dealership about the supposed car repairs Mark mentioned, they had no record of him. I was trying to piece together a puzzle with half the pieces missing, and every new bit of information just made the picture more confusing. It was during one of these restless nights that my niece, Lily, dropped by unannounced. She was always a bit of a free spirit, bouncing from one thing to the next, and recently she had started working at the bar Mark managed. Hey, Aunt Anna, just thought I'd swing by. See how you're doing.